Ranking on Amazon is a battle, especially when you don't have the proper keyword research and competitor research. You see, most sellers waste a ton of ad spend and have a super low organic ranking because they don't have a proper keyword research and don't know how to track their data and do data-driven decisions instead of kind of doing guesswork. In this video, we're going to do a step-by-step walkthrough on how we would do keyword research, comparing Helium 10 and 𝗙𝗏 and seeing which one is best. And if you stay until the very end, you'll see which is our preferred way of doing keyword research. Let's dive in. Awesome. So before we break down Helium 10 versus 𝗙𝗏, we'll go over very quickly the keyword research basics. So you really have two things to really look at here: short tail and long tail keywords. An example of short tail would be, for example, toothpaste, and long tail, for example, would be charcoal toothpaste for men. It's a bit of a longer tail keyword. So yeah, here are some pros and cons. So pros for short tail being high search volume and a broader reach. So obviously you're able to capture, or you're able to target a higher search volume. But the cons on that side is that there's higher competition. There's more products being ranked for those broader terms, which results in lower conversion rates, obviously, because you're not able to capture all of that demand and all that search. On the long tail side, the pros are that there's higher conversions, obviously, because there's less search volume. So if you can capture a higher percentage of that, your conversion rate on, a term that has 1,000 search volume, for example, would be much better than your conversion rate on a term that has 50,000 search volume. So yeah, that's one aspect. It's also lower cost per click since there's not as many people targeting these more specific keywords, which results obviously in better targeting. On the con side, there is lower search volume. So obviously there's not too many conversions you can get, even though your conversion rate logically would be higher for this kind of keyword. And there's, more keywords that you kind of need to add within campaigns because there's a lot more lower search volume keywords than there are high search volume keywords, generally speaking. So other factors you also need to take into consideration is search volumes, relevancy, and competition. So what do I mean by that? It's kind of the in-between between short tail and long tail. So, kind of mixing the two, but obviously in separate campaigns when running it on the ad side. So those are some other things to take into consideration. And now, keyword research is really the backbone to the Amazon funnel. If you're not familiar with it, it's essentially whatever you can do to get impressions, to then get clicks through click-through rate, to then get conversions, to then increase the average order value and the lifetime value of your customers. So with that being said, we're going to dive straight into our keyword research for Helium 10. In today's example, Foods Alive will be our brand we're doing keyword research for in this case. So what we're going to do is, if you have Helium 10, you would just kind of create a Helium 10 X-ray. You would hit product research, and you would kind of sift through to see which of these products is going to take a bit of time to load here, but which one of these products is the most relevant to your brand. And you would essentially just start clicking on which ones are relevant to your brand, which are your exact competitors. You could also, obviously sort this out by revenues or by, ASIN sales, whatever it may be. So yeah, in this case, we already did this on a separate Helium 10 tab. So let's go straight over here. So boom, all I did was copy and paste all of these ASINs. I went on each individual listing, added them in here. Again, if you're in a big niche, I recommend you add about 10 to 12, sometimes even 15 competitors if you're in a really big niche. If you're in a smaller niche, I recommend 6 competitors, maybe 8, depending on how many competitors you have. So yeah, that's just one thing to kind of take note of. So if we scroll down here, you can see we have 5,109 keywords that we can potentially rank for. Now, obviously, you're not going to be running ads / ranking for all of those keywords because that wouldn't make any sense. So now what we need to do is clean up this list. So how do we clean up this list? Well, the first few filters I like to do is have search volume of minimum 500. So minimum 500 searches per month. Then what I like to do is put 1 to 60 over here, and then 3. Now I'm going to go ahead and explain what this means. So essentially, competitor rank is what the rank of the competitors are. So 1 to 60 means the first to the 60th position. So essentially the whole first page. And then 3 means at least 3 competitors. So what are the intersection between 3 competitors that are ranking on the first page is essentially what this means. And then we added the 500 search volume. So minimum 500 search volume. We're going to hit apply filters. And now it's going to go ahead and filter this out. It's going to give you 30 core keywords that are super relevant and that you can go ahead and start targeting that your competitors are running, your competitors are ranking for. So, this obviously you would throw in ad campaigns, you would throw in your copy. So this is, a cool way to kind of go about this. I like to sort this by search volume and kind of take a look at each term, make sure they're extremely relevant, and kind of act accordingly. Now, obviously, there's other ways to clean this up, as you can look at certain terms. For example, Brags is a brand name, since, this is the guy's brand name over here. So you would also look for certain brand names. You could target those in separate campaigns, but I wouldn't kind of mess around with that until later on. So that's a kind of separate strategy altogether. If you're looking for keywords to add in your copy and like solid keyword research, full running ads, then I would remove the branded terms. And obviously you want to export this to a sheet and kind of sift through the data and create separate campaigns for, for example, these higher search volume keywords, and then separate campaigns for lower search volume keywords. So now that the keyword research is done, you can go ahead and create your campaigns, add this into your copy. But now for the data dive side of things, let's kind of take a look at how that would look like. So pretty similar to Helium 10, you have this little extension here. You would hit dive box. And you would pretty much do the same thing. You would select your most relevant competitors. So again, you can click on pretty much the same as Helium 10. On the left, you would just check on each box for each relevant keyword, that relevant competitor that you want to kind of get data on. So you would essentially click that. Exactly, here you go. So you would select it. I already selected it and created a dive, but essentially same process. We would then go to our data dive. You would just hit dive and then it would bring you here. And essentially, here's a lot of data. Now, I like data dive because it shows you at a ranking level, as well as reviews and revenue and search volume on first page data. So I really like this because you can see literally at a keyword level which competitor is ranked where on which keywords, which is really cool, and all in one dashboard. And another filter I like to apply here is you click here, you click search volume on first page, and now you can see who has the most amount of search volume on the first page, as well as keywords on the first page. And you can kind of see who are the core, alpha competitors in your space. So, it's clear that these 3 guys are dominating the space, hence why they have 3 to 5 times the amount of revenue these other sellers have. So in this case, if we're Foods Alive, as you can see, they don't have a super high search volume coverage. There's a lot of room for opportunity here. What's also cool is it'll show you the sum of search volume that you can rank for each individual keywords. You could also click this B to remove brand names. So if you hit exclude brand names, it will remove them for you. And then boom, you have all this super great data on the side, and you could filter this by search volume. You could even see relevancy, and there's a lot of ways to kind of go about mashing this data together and creating campaigns and adding this to your copy. But something really cool in addition to that is if you go to outliers. So we were just on master keyword list. That's what MKL stands for. If you go to outliers, outliers is essentially keywords that are a bit less relevant. Like we were saying, these are usually short tail keywords, usually. But yeah, so outlier keywords are lower relevancy. As you can see, they kind of give you a relevancy score over here with higher search volume. So, again, super broad terms, very high search volume that you can rank for. So this is also good to create campaigns with this. As you can see, Bragg has a very high outlier search volume that he's ranking for, as well as micro ingredients, and then all these other competitors not so much. So that's kind of like a step 2 later on that, if you're seeing that you're tapping out in terms of search volume coverage, then you could look into outliers. Something else we like to do is residue as well. This is kind of usually a little bit more long tail keywords, so higher relevancy, lower search volume, and yeah, you can kind of create your own campaign strategy according to these residue keywords, so that you can really fine tune into less relevant keywords with higher search volume, and then residue keywords that are lower search volume but higher buyer intent. And there you have it. That was the breakdown between Helium 10 and Data Dive. Now, this is the part where I tell you need to use the both of them, and that's how we kind of go about it internally. We like to use a mix of Data Dive and Helium 10 so that we can get the most amount of data possible and see if there's any keywords we missed out on. So that's how we like to do that internally. Your next step here is to create strategy according to this keyword list and rank organically and create ads with that. So click the link right over here on the screen to see how you can increase your organic rank. 7 ways to increase your organic rank by leveraging this master keyword list. With that being said, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.